Hi guys, welcome to today's video. And previously we talked about setting up a lab environment, and that entails a series of videos that will be showing you how to do this by yourself, just in case you're wondering how to be a SOC analyst or you have some interest in cybersecurity. Now that that's out of the way, let's talk about what we're going to be doing today in today's video. There are several procedures you need to understand to be able to carry out what we discussed in our previous video about setting up your own SOC environment. To get that out of the way, first we need a plan. That plan will enable us to visualize how we're going to walk through the series of this video. It includes how we're going to set up our lab environment, the kind of servers we'll be spinning up, and the stacks that are required, the technologies, what we're going to be doing actually, and the connections that are involved, and most especially the IP address. Some of the procedures we'll be going through is one of them will be to draw a logical diagram, and that's what we'll be doing in today's video. If you're really interested about learning how logical diagram works, this will be a good video for you to start. In some school environment and some research environment, logical diagrams are a very useful tool for you. And if you have a logical diagram, it's also good for your work environment because it shows the flow of things and it shows that you're organized and you're tidy. So it's a good skill to know how to draw logical diagrams because it makes things explainable and easy to read, grasp, and understand. We'll be drawing the logical diagram, and some of the tools you could use to do that. One of them is the Microsoft Visio. I find that quite interesting to use, but in this case, we'll be sticking to a new tool called draw.io. And after that, we'll be setting up and configuring the ELK stack. If you don't know what the ELK stack means, the ELK is just ELK. E for elastic, L for Logstash, and K for Kibana. This stack is what enables SOC analysts to overview and visualize the security environment, and all these will be aggregated and telemetries are collected from these devices, and this information is made sense of in this ELK stack we talked about. So if you know how to configure and use this ELK stack, that's a very useful tool under your belt as a SOC analyst, because that's what is referred to as the SIEM. We will be doing some attacks, we'll be doing some detection, investigation of some security events as well, and you'll be creating alerts and dashboard using the Kibana we talked about in the ELK stack. Also, you will set up and integrate ticketing systems for users. So in case users have any query of any kind, you can receive that as a SOC analyst on your desk, investigate that, and resolve it in time. Without further ado, let's delve right into what we have for today's video, which is drawing our logical diagram on draw.io. See you there. Let's open our browsers and head on to draw.io online. And then it opens up the page. First thing you need to do is to click on create new and select blank diagram and click create. And here you would notice up here that there is an untitled design here. Just click on that and change the name. I'll name it SOC Lab 1. And you could change the file format to PNG, HTML, or whatever you like. In this case, I would use PNG. And right here, this is where you search for different icons or shapes that you use for your designs. And these are some of the shapes that you could use also to shape your designs and put some figures in. And you could do some other customizations here, like the advanced and other things as well. And also by this side, you could change the points of your arrows, the arrow size, and the arrow direction as well at the right hand side. So firstly, let us start by imputing our cloud, because we're going to be designing everything on the cloud. So I'll first of all go on to where I search for my shapes and then search for cloud. Comes up, I just pick whatever I find useful as well. Here, good. I drag to fit the page. Yeah. Right. So this looks better. So this becomes our cloud environment. And the next thing we need to do is on that cloud, what we'll be doing practically is to configure a VPC, which is like a virtual private cloud. If you don't know what that is, you will understand as we go. It's just like a place that you configure to put all your devices on one network. So there will be a dynamic host configuration protocol that will be enabled to make sure that all the devices on that VPC are connected together on one network, more like your work environment, where the work environment, everybody will be connected in one network. That's what the function of VPC would be like in this case. So on cloud, I'll just name this cloud right now. And to do that, I'll go on to this place, see text, select text there, and then name it. For this lab, we'll be using Volta. At some point, I don't know if we're going to change, but for now, let's use Volta. You can use any cloud platform of your choice, depending on what you're confident or comfortable with using. So this is our cloud platform. I'll just put it on there as Volta. I'll move this down a little bit because I need some more space somewhere, right? And then I'll keep this in here. Next thing I need to do is to put the VPC, like I said. I'll come on to here that I searched for cloud before, and then search for VPC. So it comes up, pick something like this and spread it on this page. So the VPC, it's going to be on the cloud platform that we choose. And then on the VPC, we're going to be running the servers, installing the operating systems that we need for the operations that we need, that we want to carry out. So now the next thing is to search for servers. And you can pretty much use whatever you like here. Doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be very beautiful. Anything does the job. It's just for illustration purposes, for neatness, and for flow and organization as well. So pick one of these and you're fine. I'll pick this. And for the sake of this configuration, we'll be doing just 6 servers. And that means I would have to duplicate this. To do that, if you're using a Mac computer, you use Command D. But if you're using a Windows computer, it's going to be Control D. And I'm doing that one. Keep this here, just so it's a bit neat at least. And I'll put another one here. Also, I'll make another duplicate. That's the 4th server. Put it somewhere here. I'm just trying to arrange this so it's looking tidy at least. And then one more. That's my 5th server. I'll put it here and it's well aligned. And my last server, I'm just going to put it outside for now because that's where we're going to be doing the command and control for the malicious hacker. So for now, I'm going to create the work environment for the business in this case, which is going to be in the VPC, which is like the safe network in this case, right? So I'll move this a bit. I'll just drag it and enlarge this icon a little bit so it's more visible for us to see. I think this is too big. That's just all right. Yeah. It's all right. I'll move these as well, and I'll also move these as well. Right. And I'll also move this one a little bit. Yeah. So this is what we have. It doesn't have to be perfect again. And right now I'm going to name them. I'll begin from my Windows server. And on this Windows server, we're going to have RDP enabled. RDP is Remote Desktop Protocol. And I'll name this my Windows server. RDP enabled. Next, it's the Fleet server. This is where we're gonna manage some of our servers, which is the Windows server and the Ubuntu server. It's just for management basically. And we're gonna have the Ubuntu server, and this would include SSH. Like we'll have SSH enabled in this machine because we'll need SSH for connection, for remote connection for our SOC analyst. So we also need the Elk stack, the server that would carry the Elk stack, which is the Elastic and Kibana. So this is where we'll install that one, and we will have the ticketing server, because I talked about OS ticketing. So there will be a ticketing server. Right now, we need to do some connections. We have these 5 servers running our VPC. How do we connect them together? And we also need to choose some set of IP configuration as well. So I would connect my Windows server to the Fleet server. So the Fleet server has some ingestion logs for management. And to do that, I just need to click on this right direction arrow and move it straight to the Windows server and the Fleet server, sorry. And the next thing would be to get ingestions from the Ubuntu server as well. Just drag, put it there to get ingestions from here. Right. I'm just trying to make sure this is well aligned. Yeah. Then the next thing would be, I'll name this. To name that connection, I'll put text on there. It's like a managed connection for management, and I'll do the same thing for here because they're all connected to the Fleet server. It's for manage as well. Right. So the next thing we're going to do is to connect the Fleet server to the Elastic server. So the managed network for the Fleet server is going to be doing some communication with the Elastic server, and that communication is a bi-directional communication. So they talk to each other back and forth. So to do that, I will click this and draw it down here, but then I'll select the arrow and come to the styles of the arrow, which are the right hand side, and then this connector here, I'll click this and select the second one. Not that one. I'll click this and then not that one, sorry. I'll click this, pick a straight line, and then select back. So that way you have it both sides. If you make any mistake at any point, you could just select undo. So you can see that the arrow went in both ways, one here and one the other way. This is for management of the agents. So because agents are going to be installed on this server and the Fleet. So the management of these agents that has been installed here to collect telemetries are going to be managed on the ELK server. And that's why I'm going to name this a managed agent link. So managed agents, right? That's for this connection. And the next thing is to connect the OS ticketing server with the Elastic Stack as well. Do the same thing for bi-direction, and that's what I'm going to do. Sorry about that. Right, so the next thing is to connect this as well to the ELK and select the arrow, then come here, straight line and none. Back, sorry, select back. That's it, you get that connection. And this is for alerts and ticketing. So I'll select my text box and put it over here, and that's where we generate incidents, the alerts we need to generate, and also for tickets. Right, that's where we're going to get those details from. And the next thing we should do right now is to get an IP configuration setting done. And to do that, I'll create a private network for it, and the IP address, I just drag the text here, and that IP address, I would say my private network is network, and you could just drag this and make sure the text are popping up, and I'm selecting this to be aligned left, right? So, and then continue typing. So my network will be, I'll use, let's just say 172.10.0.0, and the CIDR notation is going to be 24/24. Feel free to use whatever one you like, doesn't really matter, but make sure you remember them and it's within the range that is useful. And then the next thing will be 172, that's the IP range. It's going to be 172.10.0.1, and that's going to be to 254. So if we have the 254, the subnet mask, however, is going to be, subnet mask, however, is going to be 255 to 255 to 255. One sec, 255 255.0. That's what we're going to have for the subnet mask. So this, with this configuration, we'll enter it on our servers and configure some dynamic configuration, because I'm DHCP there, that's going to issue IP address automatically to the host there. So we take note of those IP addresses so we can do some SSH connections, and you'll understand as things goes as we move further onto the cloud in real. So this is our cloud setup already done. Now let's move on to creating an ISP, internet service provider, where your SOC analyst can connect through to the network and be able to monitor events and see the flow and get telemetry information, make sense of that. You just get a dashboard and then communicate that with the management, because managers, I think they do like, makes the communication and information easy to understand, right? So let's get that out of the way. So the next thing we need to do is to get like an ISP. In this case, I would call it internet service provider. Like, I'll just say internet, and you have something pop up. I would use this one. That's like an internet gateway in this sense. So put a gateway here, right? And that gateway is for external, allowable, authorized external devices like the SOC analyst computer to be able to connect to this systems and do its management, security monitoring as well. So I'm going to connect this to the ERC, because that's basically what they need access to be able to do their work. Put this there so it's straight enough. Yeah, so that's going to be to the ERC, and that's your gateway actually. And then the internet service, I would use anything there. Call this the internet. I'll put this one there. So it's the internet also. It's going to be feeding the ISP, and the ISP, which is like your gateway, is going to be where you get access to the systems and manage them, right? So I need a laptop in this sense as well. You come here to the left, like we've always do, done. Search for laptop, get a cute laptop if you like. If you use a desktop, it doesn't really matter. Nothing works here at this point, but it makes us see the flow of things. I would use something like this and then put it there. Right now, I need to connect to the internet, and I'll select here. Right, that's the connection to the internet. And what happens is, you are here, you are the SOC analyst, you are the one that's going to overview everything that's on this page, on this cloud. So you need to have access through the internet, pass through the gateway and onto the ERC stack, right? When you're on the ERC stack, you'll be able to monitor what's the alerts that are coming from this server, and the log, the telemetries that have been gathered by the agent installed on all these fleets. And ultimately, the users, which is like the staff in your organization, they will all be connected to one of these things as well. So you'll be getting this information real time, pass through here onto the cloud, onto the gateway, and then through the internet you'll be having access to these as well, your dashboard from your computer. That's the purpose of you being a SOC analyst, to be able to manage this, right? So this is more like a connection to the Elastic via the web. So I'll put a text here to just name that connect to, sorry about that, connect to internet, right, via web GUI, which is like your user interface. So you see that graphically on your computer as a SOC analyst, and you're able to make informed decisions, investigations, and resolve some of the challenges or events or incidents that you may have. Right. This will not be complete if you don't have the attacker's machine somewhere, because it is when those kind of intrusions are detected, you're able to have some logs that are being triggered, some settings that are triggered, configurations, I mean, and that would trigger an alert that will be sent over on the dashboard. Because you're connected to that dashboard on the Elk stack, the Elasticsearch, you will be able to see that alert, and you can find out if that's a true positive. That's to say, if there's really an intrusion or a malicious intent going on in your organization, and then you quickly remediate that, taking appropriate steps that has been laid down by your playbook in your organization, right? So this is like the attacker's machine. They also have access to the internet, and they connect this way to the internet. I would like to make this line straight. I'll click this and put it a straight line, and that's it. I would need another laptop, which is like the hacker's laptop in this case. I'll connect this one to the internet as well, because they need internet service. So what they do is, to be able to access their malicious servers, it's right here. I will call this the command and control server. I'll drag the text here and name it my C2. C2 is called command and control, where remote codes are installed and executed to take charge of your device. So this is like my mythic server, is a command and control server that's malicious. And then you have the hacker's machine right here, right? And here we'll be installing Kali Linux, because it's a lab environment. You'll be the one to do some attacks on your environment and see how it really works. So that's that. One last thing, we need to label these as well. This is like our gateway, and then this is the internet, like we talked about. Sorry about that. And then we have one last connection, because the Windows RDP server has to send telemetry information. The agent there has to send telemetry information directly to the Elk stack, which is the Elasticsearch server, and then the Ubuntu does the same. So there will be another connection right to this place over here, and then there will also be another connection to this place over here. So I want this line to be straight enough so it's not interrupting things. So I'll select that, come to this connection button and make it straight. I'll do the same for this one, and I'll make it straight as well. Right, so these connections, I could separate them from any other one. It's a straight line. I could click on this bar and make it a dotted line, and I'll do the same for this and also make it a dotted line, and change the colors to a green, for instance. And then this one, I'll change it to green, and I would come and change this to red, because it's like the attacker's one, right? And then this, I'll do the same. Excuse me. do the same for it. Just use this, doesn't really matter. uh, right, so this is how our setup will look like. Consider this like a map. Without a map, you might lose your way sometimes and you get confused where you're going. So if you stick with me so far for the length of this video, congratulations, you've been able to draw a logical diagram on by yourself on draw.io. We've been able to do things like Windows server, Fleet server, our egg stack, and so many other things. We've been able to visualize what we're going to do. I would advise that you continue sticking to these videos. If you have any confusion whatsoever, put that on the comment box or find a way to reach out to me. And also the diagram that we made together, I'll be putting that on a link which will be posted on the description box as well. Feel free to go through that link and download, use that as you may. It's free of charge. And also one more thing, this design is not cast in stone. At any point in time, there might be some sort of modification as well. So you can feel free to play around things and do whatever you like. If you have any questions, just put it on the comment. See you on the next video.